In this Geek Lowdown video, I'm going to be showing you how to install Windows Server 2019 on a VM through the vSphere web client. Let's get started. So what we're going to do first is log into our vSphere web client. Once we're here, we're going to click on Virtual Machines, and you'll see where you can create a VM. Here we're going to create a new virtual machine, so we hit Next. You can see here you can give it a name, so I'm going to call it Windows Server 2019. And we can select the compatibility mode for ESXi. And next you'll see that we can select our guest OS family, and then we can select our guest OS version, which I'm going to select Windows Server 2019 64-bit. We're going to go ahead and click Next. And now we're able to select where we want to store this VM. So I only have one drive on this VM host, so we're going to select the data store. And now we can customize the settings. So I'm going to leave it at 4 gigs of RAM. I usually do like 60, 70, or 80 gigs on these machines, depending on what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to leave it at 2 CPUs. I'm going to elect to not connect the network adapter because in a production environment, you're going to want to keep it off the network until you have it in the place that you want it. Now you see that I'm selecting the Windows Server 2019 ISO to be connected to the CD/DVD drive. Now you're going to want to hit Next and hit Next again, and you can click on Finish, and it will begin creating the VM. Once the VM has been created, you can click on the name of the VM, and now you can power it on. Now we can start the installation of Windows 2019 Server. Now you're going to want to hit any key, that way you can boot to the image that we have loaded as the CD drive. Now you'll see the Windows starting up, installation startup begin. And we get to the first installation window, which is selecting the language. Hit Next, install now. The setup is begun. And we can select which version of Windows Server 2019. We're going to go with the standard with the desktop experience. So go ahead and click on Next. Click I accept. You can read if you want. Hit Next. I like to do a custom installation. And I select unallocated space and hit New. And I hit Apply to select all the storage that's available. And I like to format the drive I'm going to put it on. So it's already highlighted the drive that I'm going to be using out of the 4 that it's created, so I hit Format. And then once that's finished, I'm going to go ahead and hit Next. And now it's going to go through the installation of Windows. I'm going to speed this up quite a bit. It'll take a few minutes. It'll finish up with installing the files, and then it will want to reboot. So if you don't hit the reboot button, it'll do it automatically. And now you see the VM has rebooted and it's coming back into Windows. This will begin finalizing the installation. So once this finishes, now we can choose the administrator password. You want to go ahead and set that up at this point. Once you have matching passwords, go ahead and hit Finish. Finalizes the settings. And then we'll come to a login screen for the first time. So since this is a VM, you're going to need to hit Actions and go to Guest OS, and then Send Keys, and then Control-Alt-Delete. This will allow you to put in the password to log into the system. Go ahead and put in your password. I'll show you how to install VM tools. That way you can just use the Control-Alt-Delete on your keyboard, and I'll send it as well. It's starting up for the first time. It's personalizing the settings. Once it runs through this, it'll present us with the desktop, and the server manager will start up automatically. So now that the server is started up, you'll see the server manager comes up. And now the first thing we need to do is give it an IP address so we can get it onto the network. So what I'm going to do here is, you see I have a terminal from my machine that I'm working from, and I'm going to ping an address to see if I get any kind of response. I'm pinging 10.1.10.20. I don't get any kind of response. So that's going to be the address that I assign to the NIC of this server. So now I'm going to go to Control Panel, and up at the top right, I'm going to change it to small icons. I'm going to go to Network and Sharing Center. On the left, you see Change Adapter Settings. You click on that, right click on the Ethernet adapter, hit Properties, and go to the IPv4 settings. Select Use the following IP address. Put in the IP address that you put in there. For me, this is going to be a /24, which is 255.255.255.0. My gateway is 10.1.10.1. My preferred DNS is for my network is going to be 10.1.10.8. And for a secondary, I'm just going to give it the Google DNS. Once we've done that, I hit OK, and then hit Close. And at this point, we're going to need to shut down the system. That way we can turn on the NIC from the VM settings. So before I do that, what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to set up remote desktop. That way I can get into it through RDP instead of constantly using this console. So that's something that I do every time. So now we're going to close out the system options, and we are going to shut down the system. All right, and once the system shuts down, we're going to be back in the vSphere web client. Go ahead and click that out. Now we're going to click on Edit. We're going to scroll down, and we're going to click on Connect for the VM network for Network Adapter 1. Now click on Power On, and then go ahead and click on the console so we can see what's going on. Windows Server is starting up. And now we're going to click on Actions, just like last time, Guest OS, Send Keys, and then Control-Alt-Delete, which I screwed that up. Let me do that again. Send Keys, Control-Alt-Delete. We're going to put in the administrator password. And once we get into the system, one of the first things I want to do after getting network connectivity and internet access is I like to get another browser. So I'm going to install Firefox on here, and I'm going to use the Firefox download client, which is IE. You see here I've searched for Firefox. I'm on their download page. And while that downloads, it's going to ask me if I want to run or save. I'm going to hit save, and you can see here it's in my downloads. I'm going to hit run. This is going to run through the installation pretty quickly. I highly suggest using Firefox, or I don't like Chrome. I like Firefox a lot more than Chrome. I don't really trust Chrome. So now that you see Firefox is installed, that's going to come in later. Now we're going to install the VM tools. So as you can see, I clicked on Actions and Guest OS and Install VM tools. Now it's loaded into this like it's a CD-ROM. So you click on this PC and you double click on the CD or the DVD drive, and it's coming up to do the installation of VM tools. Click on the bottom when you see the installation icon come up. On this, I just do a typical installation. Hit install. If you're going to be using if you're going to be managing multiple of these from vCenter, then you want to do a full installation. So we've installed the VM tools. It asked us to reboot. We rebooted. Now we're able to type in the password without using the actions option. And we are back into the Windows Server desktop. So now I've shown you how to spin up a Windows Server 2019 VM. Make sure and check out other videos on my channel. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button.